Ah, the bar. A friend with weed is a friend indeed, but a friend with gold is the best, I'm told.
They know they can't fuck with you. I knew they couldn't fuck with you when I first seen you, which is one of the reasons why I took you under my wing. I'm like, oh, she got it.
Hey Lucki Charms, welcome back to another live stream. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to become a Lucki Charm and be notified. Hello, it's your girl LuckiMaree. Welcome to the channel. How is everybody? Like the video on your way in. So I seen this conversation in this live stream or this debate, and I actually liked Stevie Knight before this conversation. And this is where I think that should we kind of keep our opinions to ourselves, or is it better that we outwardly say what we actually believe in so people can know who they follow? Now, we're just going to just get into this. I'm going to pause, talk throughout it. We're going to just talk about it. I'm not no person that knows everything about politics, so I'm not about to review it like I know. I'm going to review it as a person who lives in America, okay, and who's just listening. So they had a debate, and Stevie Knight was just on, he reviewed Abba and Preaches or whatever, their video in regards to Charlie Kirk. Now, I've been staying away from the Charlie Kirk conversation so much because it seems like, how did this become a race thing when he was killed by a white person? Like, I don't even understand that part. Which other than that there's an agenda trying to be pushed. But let's check it out, and y'all let me know which perspectives you agree with. I'm not about to be biased. I'm about to just listen, and we're going to get into it. So good morning, you guys. Good morning, Black America. Like the video on your way in. We just going to get into some tangs, okay?
It was more like focusing on the right versus the left. You know what I mean? And you felt a way about, I'm assuming what your intent was, just focus on the right. Now we need to tone it down, and we're doing the same thing that the left was doing, bro. And you know, where I differ in opinion with you as far as this whole situation is that I don't think anything should be toned down if we're highlighting, if we're focusing on the right people. You know what I'm saying? I think that the right versus left is being overhyped, which makes sense because we're divisive as hell in society, man. But you know, the demons are demoning. You know what I mean? And regardless if it's right or left, I feel like, you know, these people need to be held accountable, and we need to zero in on these individuals. And I don't think a toning down at all will work, given the climate.
Okay.
And you know, I'm not gonna say I felt some type of way at the beginning when we were focusing on, like, the emphasis of your video was to highlight Charlie, and then you were trying to compare it to other things that may have happened that were similar.
Sure.
And I think that's taking attention away from, you know, the elephant in the room, which is Charlie Kirk situation, which we never had a situation like this happen ever, you know, because of the social media and the fact that everyone was able to see it, you know.
Really quickly, with the Charlie Kirk situation, he stated that we haven't had a situation ever happen like that. Would you agree? Like, because what makes that, I don't know what he's referring to. Like, we never seen anybody get murdered on camera. That has happened a lot. We haven't seen anybody who was an activist of something being murdered, like, on camera in front of people. We've never seen that. I don't know. I didn't know what he meant by that.
You know what I'm saying? And that makes the situation a whole lot different than anything that's happened in the past as far as a murder of this magnitude. And, you know, it seems that you were minimizing the impact of what happened to Charlie.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'm gonna keep rolling now. I'll let you.
No, go for it. If you're still on this one, I just want to move from this topic. But
I don't want to roll out like 10 things and have you.
Yeah. It's always better to go point by point. I think so.
Yeah, we should go one for one.
Yeah.
So, it felt like, from my end, it felt like it was a right versus left type of thing, and you know what I mean, from how you were describing it, you know, right's doing this, the left's doing this, and you're saying it's hypocritical of the right to be complaining about the same things that the left is doing, or what the right is implying that we're doing. And to me, it shouldn't be about that. It should be about, we isolate, you know, the evil, the degenerate shit that's going on. And when we try to minimize or just bring up the comparison between Charlie Kirk and everything else, it minimizes the tragedy that everyone just witnessed and like the impact it had on everyone, man. So I feel like it's deflecting from it, and it's like you know, Charlie Kirk, his tragedy was important, but other things has happened, and the right was doing the same thing. So it's kind of like, no, it is to me, it's minimizing, you know, what happened.
Got you. So I think there's 2 points in there. One being the hyper focusing on right versus left. You felt like we did that too much. And the second part is minimizing Charlie Dess's murder. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay. So just to go to the first point, I did have that in my notes. I think in your video at around 2 minute mark, you said that I was minimizing Charlie Kirk's murder by comparing it to other political violences or like contextualizing it in the way that I was doing. I don't think I'm minimizing it. I disagree with that characterization for a few reasons. I think it's natural when someone dies that we try to understand why. That's why people love murder mystery. That's why people, every time someone dies, they want to know who the perpetrator is. They want to know who their motivations are, because murder is generally something that we see as incredibly heinous. And so understanding what led to that is always important. When I'm not comparing, this is not the right word. What I'm doing is that I'm explaining away how our society led to this moment and this man, because he wasn't murdered in a vacuum. This wasn't a crime of passion. This was an individual who's incredibly troubled, and he decided to go out and murder somebody for their political opinions or affiliation, maybe because they had mentally ill issues, who knows? But there's a landscape, and there's a lot of things that lead up to this murder. It's always important to examine these things, because if we don't understand how we got here, then we're going to be doomed to repeat it. It's never, in my opinion, a bad thing to contextualize any world event, provided you contextualize it fully, right? That you, or at least you try to, because
Really quick, because I noticed with Charlie Kirk, they're comparing him to Martin Luther King. Would you agree? Like, honestly, I'm just asking you as a viewer, just person in America, would you agree in the comparison? You got to explain, how is it the same? How is he the same?
because without context, then all that happened was that someone was shot. Context is everything.
Well, to that point, that makes total sense what you're saying, but to me, it didn't come across that way when you voiced that in the video. It seemed like you were trying to, highlight the divide between the right and the left, or whoever the instigators of it are. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't seem like you were trying to get to the root of the problem or how we're trying to fix it. It's like, like I said before, I mean, what you're saying now, if you had voiced it that way in the video, I wouldn't have had the mindset that I have in regards to what you said. But in the video, it didn't come across to me like that at all. It felt like,
well, right now the pervasive narrative, and this is where it comes to the left versus right thing, the pervasive narrative that's online and that's being espoused by some of the most important people in our political stratosphere is that violence of a political nature is solely left wing. Okay, and I remember at about 3 minutes 29 seconds when Matt Walsh is talking,
violence of political nature is totally left wing. I'm just
in your video, you said that I was interpreting what he's saying when he's talking about good versus evil. It's time for the righteous to prevail over the forces of evil. You were saying that I was making a left versus right thing, right? But that's just not true.
Hold on, let me make a correction, because you go further on in the video. I recognize that point. I said, hold up, if Matt Walsh is doing that, highlighting the left like this, that's unfair to do so. And I went on to saying this makes the left look bad. It makes the transgenders look bad. It makes everybody affiliated to this look bad, like guilty by association. It's not the right thing to do. It should be a good versus evil thing, right? But then I went on, because you had a couple other videos of people uttering or echoing the same sentiments as far as, righteous and good and evil. But I did highlight Matt Walsh in that video specifically saying, all right, I see that he is describing the left in this manner, and that shouldn't be the move. Right.
But again, at about like 6 to 7 minutes in the video, you kind of do it again where you say that, that's how I'm interpreting a lot of this narrative of good versus evil. But it's not just Matt Walsh. Ben Shapiro said that most of the political violence today is flowing from left-wing movements and ideology. Elon Musk was on Twitter. He said, the left is the party of murder. If they won't let us live in peace, then our choice is to fight or die. Alex Jones said the right-wingers are in a war during a live stream. And he said that the left has been put a bullseye on Trump, and he put a bullseye on his supporters. President Trump himself, during an interview, let's see here. Let me pull up the clip, because I think it's just important to me to get the exact words that he said.
Hold on, really quick, while he's pulling that up. What do y'all think? Because I hear these left and right conversations, and I really just feel like, regardless of the outcome of who they showed the face of, they were gonna make this a race thing, and they were gonna make this a left versus right. Like, it really didn't even matter what the outcome was. Like, it seems like their sole purpose was to make this some sort of left versus right thing when y'all are the same bird. That's the part that just confuses me about that part.
On Fox and Friends, he says, we have radicals on the right as well. And he says, I'll tell you how I haven't stopped using it for fuel for their attacks on the left. And so in that climate, you're asking people to not talk.
Hold on, I think I fast forward. Let's go back a little bit. A couple seconds.
Most of this violence as I only left. And what you did in the video, and I did appreciate, is that when we said, if you look at the numbers, people got mad because I quoted the ADL, but there's all sorts of things from FBI statistics to different organizations who track terrorist attacks. Most of it comes from religious extremists and then right-wingers. Left-wingers at the bottom of that list, especially over the last 10 years. So I'm not trying to frame this as left versus right. That's the plate that's already been set. Since Charlie Kirk died, the right has not stopped politicizing his death. They haven't stopped using it for fuel for their attacks on the left. And so in that climate, you're asking people to not talk about left versus right. But if the left doesn't, then just right gets to make the narrative that they're the violent ones. And it's just not true.
Well, my opinion is that both system, it's not a left and right thing. It's an evil versus good thing. You know what I mean? And and then it's me watching you, so I'm expecting that to be that should be the point. You know what I mean? It's like what you're doing is adding just, fuel to the fire to what you're saying everybody else is doing. Like you're highlighting the hypocrisy of people complaining about what the left does, essentially what the right is doing.
Okay. Super chat, stop the live. Thank you, Nick. He says, showing some love to a West Coast player. Got what I mean? Okay, but I'm not from the Bay Area, but you get it. Hi, thank you so much, Nick. All right. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm so glad Stevie Knight said that. Stevie Knight, maybe you'll make me a supporter again. But we got to get to some stuff. Well, hi, January. Hi, Bookie. Okay, let's get into it.
Doing the same thing. You know what I mean? But, with that, like I said, with that the Matt Walsh clip, I specified I definitely could tell he was highlighting the left. Well, all that shit is fucking wrong. And I said that in the video.
I agree.
I said that in the video, right? I said that it's not a left versus right thing. It makes everybody look bad. We need to focus on the motherfuckers actually making things horrible for everybody, the extremists, the radicals, all that. You know what I mean? That's what my focus was. I feel like that's what the focus should be for everybody.
Yeah, and I did have that noted in some of the things that I like that you did. I did appreciate that you actually said that because a lot of people are not saying that, or they're just avoiding the topic entirely. But you have to understand, when I'm watching this video, when I'm watching the discourse, I'm looking at things in totality. So when I'm talking about,
what video are you talking about? When you say you're watching the video, what video?
I think I was looking at a lot of the political coverage in regards to this. I've been looking at the people who are responding, everyone who's been talking about this, and how the public is talking. If you spend time online, they're not talking about this as like both sides. That's not a lot of the discourse. A lot of discourse, especially from the right, is that they're just saying essentially the left is the violent party. Go check out those comment sections. Go check out a lot of the discourse from the.
That's going to happen every time that happens. Every time someone from the left does something crazy, they're going to highlight the left. When the right does something about something, they're going to highlight the fucking right. It comes to the territory.
Right. But it should be noted that we should correct those narratives and say that these are not one-sided things. If you watched our video, we didn't say violence is only right wing. We said there's plenty of people who've murdered people on the left from the left, and we said that. But the dominant narrative right now is that left wingers are the violent ones, and they're obviously, especially with the most recent murder, it makes sense.
Let me just ask y'all a question, bro. This shit. Let me just ask y'all, what does it say about politics where they constantly make us argue left, right, while they all still have dinner, work together, and doesn't things seem like we sound silly still arguing with each other about black versus white, left and right? Like they make all these divisions to where, oh, you're American, I'm not, you're this, I'm not. When really we're finding other ways to divide, when really it's really us against them. Like I just think that's weird to think, oh, because the left think like this. Even if you, let's say you agree with some things that the left may say, or you agree with something that the right may say, now you're put into this box fully where, oh, well, you must think all like the people over here. You must think all like, and I just think that is so, I don't like that narrative. Because even if I say I'm conservative, if you look up conservative values, it has nothing to do with me being anti-black. It has nothing to do with anything. Most black people at a certain time in America were conservative. Like it has nothing to do with the principles. But now you can't say it, so you have to figure out a way to say it. It's just like Christianity. Like you may not be like the other Christians. I may believe in God or I may believe in this. But if I say I'm this, you instantly have this mindset of who I am and what I think. You're boxing me in. I don't like that, personally.
That's going to be the dominant narrative. But it's important to not let those lies be able to be spread and to say, actually, guys, you're wrong. In fact, this year, there's been other people who've been killed. You said we were minimizing his death by bringing up these other murders, but those deaths are part of this discussion. The same thing that led to those people being killed is the exact same thing that led to Charlie Kirk being killed. And it's important to know that, because if we don't understand that, then all this is just going to happen again. You said it was different in your video because Charlie Kirk died on camera and nobody was supposed to see that. You remember you saying that?
Yeah.
Right. To me, I understand that the fact that he died on camera makes it much more graphic, much more in your face. But at the end of the day, murder is murder. Dying is dying. Someone is victimized.
But it's the effect that it has on society. It's not the same. In the vacuum, it's the same. But if people were able to see that video until the end of time now,
sure,
right, they're able to see that man go out the way that he did, and knowing up until this, I can't compare someone else that had the amount of influence Kirk had. You know what I mean? And to have, if he hadn't been murdered in front of everyone at once, your analogy, your comparison will be fair, man. But
okay, can I ask you something?
You can't minimize it.
If Kirk was not killed on camera,
Was George Floyd not killed in front of everybody? What was Charlie Kirk's perspective? Like, you know how many people were murdered in front of their families? You know how many people got shot because they thought it was a gun and it was a brush or anything like that? Look, you know how many just, it becomes something we're used to. And no, and I don't hear none of us with this outrage thinking, oh, what about? I mean, you do kind of hear certain things, but not to the point where we're making it so where we're jumping off the bridge to say, because we can see him being murdered, like we've seen a lot of murders on camera, that this one is specific and just why is this one different? Is it because we have TikTok? I don't get it. I make that make sense to me.
if Kirk's not killed on camera, is this situation more or less tragic?
It's less tragic.
So dying on camera makes a murder worse?
No, not the murder worse, but the effect that has on the people is worse because everybody can see it.
It makes it different. But from a moral standpoint, it's the exact same. There's no difference in morality. It's just more shocking.
It's a different conversation. I'm talking about tragedy. Morality is the same. I'm talking about the effects it's having on society.
Yeah, but if I'm talking about other murders, I'm talking about other murders, I'm talking about the moral aspect of it. But that doesn't mean that we can't contextualize it with those other murders. You say it's not comparable, but I disagree. They died for the same reason. They died for the exact same reason.
If you had related that way, trying to bring up the similarities and how you conveyed it just now, it would make more sense. But that's not at all how you conveyed it in the video. It came from, a leftist bias type of perspective from my end, that you were trying to minimize it by bringing up other similarities. You didn't bring anything up about it being moral or same morally. You were just saying, to summarize it, Kirk died, everybody else died, and this happens with political violence.
Yes, because what I'm getting at is not how he died, or like in front of who that he died. What I'm focused on is why was he killed. Okay, so let me say I agree with you. Let's do a different exercise. Let's say I agree with you. These are different to a degree. So what's your point? Shouldn't contextualize his murder?
Well, in your video, it didn't feel like you were contextualizing. If I felt personally that you contextualized it, trying to get to the root of a problem, then we wouldn't be here today. But I felt like your intent was to minimize Kirk's death by bringing up all these things that happened.
I would argue that you are minimizing his death by not contextualizing it properly. If you don't talk about why something happened and how we got here, then all you're doing is just describing a tragedy.
I'm not talking about why. I'm just focused on your video.
So I want to ask y'all, do you think pointing out things that Charlie Kirk said that can go all the way up into the time that he was murdered, do you think that is minimizing his death? Or is his death by way of his own talking points already minimized? I'm just curious.
Yes, but if you're going to counter my narrative and say that I'm wrong for contextualizing it the way that I did, or you don't like the way I contextualized it.
You're saying you're contextualizing it now. When I watched it, I didn't think you were contextualizing it. I thought that you were minimizing it.
That's fair. I disagree with that. I think I talked about how we got here. I definitely said that in the video. I talked about the fact that there's been a string of political violence over the last 10 years and that this is not a shocking outcome. Kirk being assassinated is not the craziest thing. There's a reason why he had security. There's a reason why I think he was wearing a bulletproof vest. There's been threats on these people. So we have to take that into consideration, understand that this is not something that happened that is out of this world. Even Kirk himself realizes it's a possibility. There's a reason why everyone who does these.
I get your point, but that's not at all my argument, bro.
But that's what I was talking about. That's what I was talking about in that video, for sure.
Well, I didn't receive that on mine. If I felt like you were contextualizing it, then we're on the same wave as far as this is what happens when politics get off the rails. But in the video, like I said, I thought that you were just minimizing it by comparing it to everything else. I didn't feel like there was any contextualizing there. So just got to agree to disagree.
Yeah.
And I've watched the video probably 3 more times because we're having this conversation today, man, and I didn't get it all that you were contextualizing it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't say that I was saying those words exactly contextualizing it, but I think that is what I was doing. But again, we could agree to disagree. So those were, I think, your first 2 disagreements that you had with me. Yeah, you can definitely let me know some other ones that you had for sure.
And I mean, I just get to the meat and the potatoes now, man, because
get to it.
Do you feel like you manufactured a narrative on Kirk by showing those snips of him in your video?
Yeah, okay, we can address that because I did have that in my notes as well. I think around like the 20-minute mark, you said I took him out of context, right?
Not even take him out of context. You put your context on it because we let it play. I put the additional clips on it.
Okay, so just for the viewer, there's a clip that we played, maybe a 15 seconds of Kirk on a Jubilee panel. He's talking to somebody. This is a panel about Christians versus
Shout out to Spaces. Hi, Spaces. He said, figured I'd help you recover some of that chicken nugget money. You're funny. I can't wait for these ideas to start rolling out. Shout out to the Saturday sermon. Shout out to you. And y'all, Lucky and Friends is coming Tuesdays and Thursdays. Spaces is there. I want to hold off. We're going to see the friends. Lucky's and Friends streams. Make sure you're on your phone. We're going to have good little conversation. So, Spaces is part. Thank you, Spaces. Yeah, let's get to the meat and potatoes.
Or was it right wingers versus lefties? I don't remember what it was.
I don't know, but it was about abortion.
Okay, it was about abortion, right? And Kirk is a very Christian, self-proclaimed Christian. Everyone knows this about him. So in that clip, the woman is asking him a hypothetical where he says, if your 10-year-old daughter was raped, okay, would you force her to keep the child? Is that a fair assessment of the clip?
Yeah.
And then Kirk says yes.
He said yes. The baby will have the baby, or my girl will have the.
Okay.
child.
And then you said that we were kind of dishonest with how we did that. That we clipped him out of context, and then we put our own context, right?
No, I'm not saying you put your own context. You didn't put the entire context.
Okay.
Like you said, you led into it by saying, you said I think I'm not going to speak. I'm going to recite you verbatim, but it was essentially, I think that Kirk has said some disgusting things as well.
Yes.
And
I played that clip.
Video.
Yeah. So let's just talk about the first clip, because I remember you taking that first clip and being really shocked. I think. Let me just see here, because I did have that in my notes here. Oh yeah, you said that. You said that was really surprising that you were shocked coming from me. You called me the king of receipts.
Yeah.
But yes. So that is.
I rely, but I know when you giving somebody shit, you're gonna have.
Okay. So how do you feel I took that clip out of context?
Because when I see that it's trying to paint Kirk as a monster because he's going to force his 10-year-old daughter to have a child.
Right. But as somebody who's anti-abortion, that's his stance. He will force his daughter to have the child because he feels as though life is precious or whatever it is. And, he sees the fetus as
Before we hear their argument, if your daughter was 10 years old and she was pregnant, would you encourage her to abort the child or keep the child if your particular belief was anti-abortion? Just a question.
a life. So he's like, my daughter will have that baby. That's his take.
Yeah, but if you let the rest of the video play, I mean, it's subjective. Everybody's going to feel differently watching that. But if you just have that short video, it makes it seem like he's a monster. I don't care. Anti-abortion. She having a baby. It could be for anything because my way or the highway or whatever the case may be, bro. Everybody's not informed on Kirk and his reasonings why. And I think that you let the video play and he gives you his reasonings why, people would understand it. They may not agree with it, but they'll understand it, and it'll take a blow away from how they're initially feeling about him being a monster.
Well, they'll see him still as a monster because no matter how much you explain it from a religious standpoint,
that's your opinion.
But that was my whole.
What is our love today? Thank you, Lauren. 19 months period. She said, shout out to my girl, Lucky Dog or Luck Dog, keeping her stilettos and her sneakers on these weirdos necks. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. Show me some love. Y'all know what I'm about to do. Y'all know what I'm about to do.
Hate on a nigga. I don't understand why you hate on me, nigga.
We don't understand.
Show love, nigga. It don't show nothing. It don't cost nothing to show a nigga love.
All we doing
nigga.
is getting money.
Show a nigga some love, nigga.
Wabbly dabbly.
Niggas out here don't love me, nigga.
Thank you, guys, today. Really appreciate it. Okay, and some of y'all said y'all would not let y'all baby have a baby. I agree. Good morning, Brianna. Yeah, I wouldn't. I just think that's weird. Like, that's when you have these undeniable principles, and then you start to see circumstances that would have you changing those principles. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you could not agree with abortion, but I think it's okay to say I don't agree with it under these circumstances, but I agree with it for these circumstances, which is why I don't understand the laws. Like, why you just want to put parameters or maybe make it a requirement where insurance companies cover one abortion per however many, or, you know what I'm saying? Something like that where you can put more of control over it. Don't just make the decision where, this side says you can have it, the other side says you can't. Like, there's always nuances to situation. So, yeah.
Point. Do you remember what the greater point of that whole section was? That section was about the fact that some people view him as a monster, including me. I don't like the guy. I didn't think his politics were good. That's my personal opinion. I think I'm free to say that. And I played clips that, to me, showcase his stances on things that I just don't agree with and I think are disgusting. Forcing your 10-year-old daughter to have a baby, okay, that after she was great, okay? You could say it's great for religious reasons. You could give whatever justification you want. There's nothing in there that took him out of context. His stance was
because if you having that short snippet, people are not going to know why he's doing it. They're just going to know he's doing it. If he gives justification of why, and he gave very clear reasons of why, that's going to make some people look at it different. You're putting this. You know what I mean? Like it's like showing a video of somebody shooting somebody in the head, but just randomly. But you
Okay,
figure out that they like killed my mom.
Super chat stop the live. Thank you, Ricky. Shout out to you.
Then it makes sense.
No, because the people who are following this or people who are even tuning into this stuff know that Charlie is a political speaker who's incredibly Christian. So
you make that assumption though, bro. Like you make that assumption because now since Kirk has died, there are so many people that are just now learning about Kirk. There's so many people that didn't know before. There's so many people that didn't know before. You put that narrative out.
Can I ask you?
This is a big reason why so many people don't like Kirk because they get so many short reels taken out of context.
But they're not out of context. It's not a context.
It is.
No, it's not. It's not, Stevie. If someone says I'm anti-abortion, I'm a Christian, we know why you don't want an abortion to happen.
In that clip you put, he didn't say he was Christian though. She just gave an example and he said no, you can have a baby. He didn't say he was Christian.
This guy was all over the world, all over the news, and he was constantly. No, I'm not making an assumption. Everybody who saw that clip of him getting murdered knew he was a political speaker who's Christian. There's not a person who didn't see that clip, who didn't see the news reports, who didn't know what he was. You're acting like I took an obscure person.
That's not true. That's not true. You can't speak for everybody in the world, dog.
That's not out of context, boss. That's not out of context.
Because I talk to people now that had no idea who the fuck Kirk was. Now they see him on the timeline.
Super chat stop the live. Thank you so much. I mean, like, if y'all want to take me to dinner, just ask. Like, thank you guys. Yeah, I honestly, Lauren, I knew about Charlie Kirk because he used to do a lot of those debates on the campuses with Candace Owens. That's why I knew. But let's get back to it. Thank you guys.
Going and they don't know who the fuck he is. That's false, bro.
He has a very standard cookie cutter Christian view on it. There's nothing.
Regardless of making the assumption that people know, dog, and that's a dangerous game. You got to give them.
That's not an assumption. That's not an assumption, boss. I'm sorry. Anybody who's following this knows he's a Christian political speaker. I'm sorry, but I'm just not buying that. In fact, everyone's been introducing him as such, so we know why he does not like abortion. I don't need to see 5 minutes.
You know, and a lot of people do know. Everybody doesn't know, dog. And you got to be fair and give the reason why. You got to get justification why. You just say he's doing this. He's a motherfucker.
I don't think whether them. Okay, so if you're hearing somebody and you see a clip of them asking a person, do they agree with abortion? Would they make their 10-year-old get an abortion? It does not matter. Oh, if we knew you're Christian, he's Christian, so we get it. It's the fact that your answer is your answer, whether you're Christian or not. It doesn't even matter. It's the fact that you're trying to make it seem like there was some more context than just answering the question to say, no, I would let my 10-year-old have the baby. I don't think there's context needed to know. Like, we don't need to know anything else. The yes was the information we needed.
Because he's gonna force a 10-year-old to have a fucking daughter. But if you go let this shit play and he gives the fucking girl the business of why he made her look stupid. To me,
but that's because you're probably anti-abortion. Am I right?
No, I don't know. I could care less. I respect his stance. I'm not pro. I'm not anti. I respect his stance. I don't agree with it, of course, but I respect it because he's standing on the table.
Okay. But my point still 100% stands. At the end of the day, if you are going to force a 10-year-old to have a baby because you believe abortion is wrong, it's okay for people to say you're a disgusting person, and other people can agree with your stance and say you're cool. My entire point was
that was my argument. My argument was you took about the context. People can say what they want to say. But
okay.
About the context, you're manufacturing a narrative.
I'm not manufacturing a narrative. The narrative was very clear. He's a Christian man. He's against abortion. Super basic.
You didn't have Christian in that clip though.
I didn't have to because everyone knows who he is. But
everybody does not know. Look.
Okay, we'll agree to disagree. We'll agree to disagree. But I think that's not taking someone out of context. If someone says I'm a Muslim, if someone says I'm a Muslim and I'm a no. I think you're reaching. I think you're definitely reaching. But it's okay.
How am I reaching?
You're reaching.
How am I reaching?
He's the most viral person right now.
Narrative, bro. You said he said I'm going to force a 10-year-old to have a fucking baby.
No.
That's all everybody going to see. There's no more context. You didn't give a motherfucker the opportunity to explain why.
No. He's the most viral person in the world. People know he's a political commentator. They know he's Christian. I'm not buying that, but we'll agree to disagree. That's not taking someone out of context. If you're not an unknown person, we know where you're standing. We know what you're there for. But we'll agree to disagree. This is another point you made, and this is one I thought was crazy. You played the other clips of Kirk. You kind of said there's nothing bad about this when he said he wanted Biden to be executed or given the death penalty. You don't think that people should hate somebody like that, or some people might hate somebody for that reason? For saying violent things like that?
Yeah. That's their opinion.
Another point that you made, I played a second clip, and this is probably one of the wilder clips. A young man goes up to Charlie Kirk during that debate, and he says to him, hey, what do you think about school lunches for kids? And Charlie laughs him. He says, there's no starvation in America. We have an obesity problem. Nobody here is going without food. And then you agreed with him. You said there's no starvation in America. Go get food stamps. You can get food at churches. There's no reason to starve. Do you remember that?
Yeah, there's no reason to starve in America. It's like 1% of households have like technically a hunger issue, bro, but people are not starving to death in America, bro. Motherfuckers are fat as hell.
Okay.
That's a fact.
Question. Do you think we have a starvation problem in America? Because I could have sworn, what was this, like 2-3 years ago, They were talking about food insecurity when it came to how many adults or something like that and children in schools, because when you deal with just the extremes, you don't make room for the other circumstances, such as households with infants and things like that with 3 years old aren't really getting full meals because the hardships that family or households are experiencing with feeding these kids. Now I understand, stop having children, right? But I mean, it's like a government would tell you it is not our responsibility to feed these children. You need to go figure it out, right? Legally, to go feed these children. You also got to figure out who's going to watch the kids, pay for daycare, all this stuff. That's your problem about what you do with your kids. But they also want to give their opinions as to if you want to keep the kid that you actively are pregnant with that you know you financially cannot feed. So you got something to say with whether or not I can get rid of the child. You got something to say. But you also got something to say whether or not you're taking food programs out of schools to say we don't want to feed them. But if you don't send your kid to school, then you also get penalized. But while they're at school, you're watching them. You're responsible. The state is responsible. You're not making sure the kids have meals while they're at the school. Are we fucking serious? I mean, even prisoners. I have never heard nothing about should we feed these prisoners? No, we're gonna go to the kids first. Should we feed these kids? No, I'm a little confused with that a little bit because we do have a food insecurity and children problem in the US for a minute, for a long time. A large disparity. And even though you can say, oh, well, you need to go do something for your kid, you need to just take care of your kid, go on food stamps. Who's paying for that, Stevie Knight? So you want to pay more and tell them to go get food stamps that they may not qualify, that you want them to get on more government assistance instead of just if they have a cafeteria in the goddamn school. What is wrong with you popping in a damn pig in a blanket, for breakfast? I don't know. I never ate breakfast at school, but the school lunches on Fridays, you had Pizza Friday with the chocolate milk. Okay, you had the chalupa on Tuesday. Y'all know what a chalupa is. Y'all had the pig in the blanket was the pancake with the sausage on the inside. Like, these are just basic fucking meals. You had chicken nuggets. It costs that much to feed kids in schools? Shout out to you. Super chat stopped the live. He said difference between food insecurity and starvation. Starvation in America is very rare. Abba compares Foda's death with parents don't have enough money to buy lunch. His follow-up talks about food insecurities. He's an idiot. Okay, I'll keep listening. Y'all. Shout out to Ricky. He said, who's selling food stamps? Who got the stamps, Ricky? I need a girl with 8 kids to come. You like, hey, I give you 200. I give you 200 for 350. I give you some girl. Wait, I don't know, because they said we can't buy crab legs with the stamps no more. So let's get back to it.
And see, this is the problem I have with like people who are pro-life, and not you specifically, but people like Charlie Kirk. They're so obsessed with keeping fetuses alive. They pretend it's like this big virtue. And then when a child is born, they're like, fuck you, your parents take care of you. It's actually probably one of the most hypocritical. And this is why I think Charlie Kirk is probably a shitty person to me, is that he spent all this time being anti-abortion. But when it comes to every government initiative that's meant to protect kids and keep them good, he was always against it. And to me, it's like, what's the fucking point of keeping this fetus alive if when it comes out, you're like, yo, fuck you, kid. And that's what he did. He said that guy was...
He said, fuck you, kid?
No, he didn't. But he might as well have when he's constantly championing everything that's anti-public sector, government involved taking care of kids. Like even you saying there's no starvation is like so disingenuous. If you just Google it, there's like so many kids today here in America. You could look it up, the statistics, that have malnutrition, that have food scarcity, that have all these problems. It stunts their growth. It fucks them up in terms of their academic success. And for you guys to sit there and think that food lunches for kids is a crazy idea and parents should take care of them. Some parents are dog shit. Some parents don't take care of their kids. And so that's why these school lunches happen, so that kids who go to school get a meal. But people like Charlie Kirk, and then you did the same thing, or like, oh, the parents take care of it. That's fucking stupid. And I'm like, do you guys even Google this stuff? Do you guys even look into it? But you speak confidently against this stuff that's hurting hundreds and thousands of kids. And I'm like, I don't get it.
I'll ask you a question. Which one is higher, the amount of abortions in America or the amount of starving children in America?
The amount of starving kids in America.
Oh, that's cap.
That's cap? Did you Google it? Did you Google it? You don't need facts. But you know what? Facts don't care about how you feel about it. I need you to Google it.
Okay.
Go Google.
Somebody Google it in the chat.
Okay.
But I'm not. You let me figure out the best way to articulate this, because you have this anger towards Kirk and me and whomever else because we don't support government, not even support government assistance. We're saying the parents should do it, but in the reality of the
Wait. I don't. Before I say it's cap, okay? Because someone in the comments says, so are we saying? I'm thinking of when I think of starvation, I'm thinking of a kid that only ate one time today. Okay, I'm thinking of kids that y'all never went to school with those kids that didn't have no money to eat, or they had to eat in the cafeteria, or they only had like they wanted your extra lunch ticket. Like you didn't know those kids that only went to school to get meals. Like I went to school with a lot of those children. They weren't starving like their stomach is to their back. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like we always got to deal with it because it's not that extreme situation. Oh, they okay with it. They okay. Because then it puts it back on us, which I don't have a problem with that. Which then y'all should never took it from the Black Panther parties when they was making food programs for schools. Because then I would say, how much could do you think if I took $4,000 and I went to a school where I wanted to come provide school, do you think the school will just accept my donation? No, they won't, because I went to my daughter's school to try to donate. I ain't gonna tell you how much money it was for books and stuff like that of historic books, like books that used to be in school when I was in school. The school was so thankful, y'all. They were like, I'm so thankful. However, we do have to go write a letter to get approval from the state whether or not you can provide us something that we're saying we're in need of. So the teachers are saying, hey, parents, can you come help us with these things? We don't have these supplies. Hey, parents, can you also do this? We don't have these type of books. So if parents get together and they say, hey, we're going to put our money together and go to this school and give the school what they need, the teachers could really love that. But they can't even accept what you're giving them until they go to the higher board to get approval. So this don't even make sense to me. If y'all have a problem with feeding kids and the parents in the community are willing to make a solution for that, how come you got to then say, hey, well, we got to make sure we approve it? You should approve anything because the kids don't have no meals. That's the part that just doesn't make sense to me when it comes to like, so do you want a solution or you don't? You want to starve these fucking kids and then put them in the system so you could sell them and fuck them? I mean, what the hell going on?
problem, bro. There's so many different ways that people can eat outside of their parents. There's, bro, food stamps, churches, charities, bro. Like, there's no reason for somebody to starve.
So do you want a 7-year-old or 8-year-old to go to get food stamps or go to church and get food?
Their parents should go.
What if the parent doesn't want to go? What if their parent doesn't want to go?
You saw in the video, I said it, bro. I'd be jealous.
Get on your nerves, huh? Super chat stopped the live. Thank you. He said, wake up and hit the like and share button. Wobbly that buddy. Thank you, guys. That's what you want. Okay, I got you.
Hate on a nigga. I don't understand why you hate on me, nigga.
We don't understand.
Show love, nigga. It don't show nothing. It don't cost nothing to show a nigga love.
All we doing
nigga.
is getting money.
Show a nigga some love, nigga.
Wabbly dabbly.
Niggas out here don't love me, nigga.
Thank you, American.
I'll be jealous when I see the amount of money these people have on food stamps, bro. They be running these EBTs up $400, $500, $600, bro. Like there's no excuse for somebody to be broke or to be hungry, unless they got like they're picky, they're bougie about what the fuck they want to put in their body, dog. But beggars can't be choosers, bro. Like you can't have no filet mignon when you can't afford it, dog.
Okay, let's take 2 steps back. All right, let's take 2 steps back. Do you agree with this?
Now the super chat star, you guys. I love when y'all give me feedback. Help me out, Vincent. He said America does have programs like SNAP. Starvation is long, prolonged time with no food. Only 2022 food insecurity increased due to inflation. Charities, churches, food drives, not government. Yeah, I think that's what Stevie Knight is saying, and I think I'm glad you caught that, because when my mind went to food insecurity, I'm like, that has been there for a long time. But I think the caveat or the word that I think he's getting is starvation. Like, they're not starving, I guess. But then I would ask you, Vincent, how okay, so if the kid goes to school, are you saying the kid that has, let's say, food insecurity, he's not starving yet, do you think that it's still not our responsibility? We paying these tax dollars to also just keep food programs? I mean, they were there when I went to school. I'm sure you had food programs where you went to. I never had to eat lunch. I took a lunch to school, but the kids can't take lunch to school, obviously. So do you think that it's a bad thing to say, if you so opinionated about whether or not this kid stay in a world with the womb? I mean, because she could have aborted the fetus. You know what I'm saying? So the kid stays in a world. now you don't have any resources to feed them, or like it should just be second nature. You're out of school, you should get food, just like you go to prison, you get 3 hots and a cot. Like I would prefer us to argue whether or not we feed prisoners 3 times a day than children. Or I don't know. I just how I feel. I want to know what y'all think.
A lot of bad parents out there.
Absolutely.
Do you know that there's a lot? Hold. Do you agree that there's a lot of parents who neglect those children?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you think that those kids should suffer because they have bad parents?
No.
Okay.
I don't think they should, but bad shit happens.
So wait, you're just gonna let kids suffer when the?
No, I'm not gonna let them, bro, because there's other avenues. Like if they're going to school, this is a hypothetical.
Well, no, hold on. What did you say? If they're going to school, what? If they're going to school, they can get a free lunch there?
If they're going to school, I'm assuming that teachers are aware, they can see someone losing weight.
But that's what the program's for, Stevie. That's what I'm saying. The program is meant to give kids lunches at school.
No, that's not where I'm going with it. I'm talking about like teachers making calls to get, the correct parties involved to address a child, to find a potential food for them so they can take advantage of the surplus of food that is available for people in these situations. Like the homeless don't go hungry, bro. They can go get a meal. They want to get a meal.
You're comparing children to homeless. Like, what are we talking about? See, I want y'all to just think about it. So there's shitty parents out there, okay? And you want teachers to call the shitty parents to be like, hey, be better parents. Or you want to call child services? You want to call child services? You want to put them in foster care?
It may be better than having the shitty ass parents.
Have you looked at the foster care, Stevie? Have you Googled foster care?
So you want more of our money to put them in foster care system where these kids, where we know foster care systems are fighting multi-million-dollar lawsuits right now. Let me like the video. I'm being hit. Multi-million-dollar lawsuits right now for trafficking. You haven't checked the photos of these kids that are coming up missing. These are state ID photos. Most of them. You think it's better to go into a system where they're losing kids. Kids are begging, especially out here in group homes. There's many group homes, but the foster care systems are begging you to donate clothes or just bags so that they can transfer them. And then we also have a problem. I don't know what state y'all in, but in this state, I live in a red state, where they are literally lowering the requirements for you to become a foster parent because they need foster parents for how many kids are being thrown into the system. So it's so much to send a kid to a system versus just keeping food programs. What is the argument? What happened where we stopped giving a fuck about the children that are supposed to raise and grow up and take care of our dumbasses? Like, what the fuck happened to where we really don't care about children at all? But we can't stop fucking though. Like, you want to control what the fuck I do with the kid or what I'm doing. But then there's nothing in the world that says we care about children. Nothing. We care more about fucking criminals and other dumb shit than we do children. I'm in the fucking Twilight Zone. Why is this even a conversation with feeding the kids? Like, even it be kids you don't even know. They just come to your house just because they're kids. You feed all the kids. It's just like going to the store and you in front of the store. I don't know if y'all been in front of the store and one kid buying chocolate. I don't want the chocolate here. Just take the $5. I do that so many times. Like, here, just take it. They could be scared. It's just that's how you think a kid. I don't know, y'all. I'm in another world.
You're describing these parents as ain't shit, bro. Like, it is bad shit happens.
I know. I cover them every day. There's a lot of ain't shit parents. There's a lot of ain't shit. You cover them. How many videos have you done about baby mamas? How many videos have you done about baby mamas and dog shit parents? If I go to your channel right now, I'll find dozens, hundreds of videos. So you want teachers to call those parents and be like, hey, feed your kids.
You're saying I'm telling teachers to call the parents. I never said that. I said they can call parties that do this for a living to find children the resources that they need. Like, teachers do this all the time. They'll see a child that may be neglected and they'll make the calls or alert people to, intervene. Right. But I mean, I feel like we're pushing it far out to like specifics of it, bro. At the end of the day, my point of view on it is that it's, abortion is a far larger problem than starving children. Children don't starve in America. They may be hungry, but they don't starve. This isn't fucking people. It's not a famine going on. People are not dying because
they're not dying. But do you understand?
Like hypertension, obesity. There's much more obese kids than there are hungry kids, bro.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Hey, shout out to Vincent back again. He says, it depends. Food insecurity is a vague term. I would tackle it on individual cases. If at a school there's a student that can't afford lunch, then I'd talk to the parents. A plan would be made, but government issue one of them. See, when you said that they can't afford lunch, I would just say, why are we charging kids for lunch? Why, like, I don't know. Like, why are we charging children to eat? Or especially something that is, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe because I come from the lunch ticket days. You didn't have to pay if you had a lunch. Your lunch ticket was your payment. But or unless it, I don't know. Did y'all? On my show, well, I was born '91. You did have to buy the lunch ticket pack like your parent did, but I don't think it was no more than like $10. Am I too far gone? Did y'all get lunch tickets? Did y'all get lunch tickets? But I didn't start actually getting a lunch. When I went to high school, I went to Fairfax High School, and then I went to Crenshaw High for a little bit. But even at Crenshaw High and Fairfax High School, they had Pizza Hut and stuff would come. Like they would have like commercial food companies come, but that was optional. You didn't have to. And then even a slice of pizza, I think, was $2. So you didn't, if you didn't have the money, you can just go to the cafeteria. Now, you as a kid, you may be teased if you was eating in the cafeteria, but if you're starving or whatever, it don't even matter. So I'm thinking little kids, I feel like when you get to a certain age and in certain schools, like elementary school, middle school, I don't think you should be charging kids to eat. I just personally do not think that.
I'm saying, like, and the world's not perfect, dog. It's not utopia, bro. So it's like, I get, and then I'm a capitalist, dog. I'm not in support of the government coming out taking care of everything. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to oppose it. Like,
but you want the government to get involved and stop abortions.
I never said, I don't give a fuck about what anybody does with abortion.
Did you say it's a bigger problem?
Yes, there's a bigger problem, but I didn't give a solution to it. I know it's a problem. I never said what I'm gonna do about it. I could care less. So, like, it is what it is, dog. This life is fucking hard, dog. And some children are born in fucked up circumstances, bro. It is what it is.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. I think a lot of people would hear your stance or hear Charlie Kirk's stance and say, you guys aren't the best people because you don't seem to care about making sure that other people in society are okay, right? You guys are more focused on being capitalists and taking care of yourselves, which is okay. Do that. But if people want to look at you and say, well, you guys spread hate out there or you guys spread selfishness, I think that's okay. I think I'll be allowed to do that.
I never said that was a problem. I said people can say whatever the fuck they want to say. My issue with people was celebrating his death, like champion and pom-pom and that shit. That's the epitome of evil to me.
That's the epitome of evil.
Not a right or left thing.
You think it's more evil to celebrate that man's death than it is for that man to advocate for the fact that children don't get meals?
But they can get meals. Is that the only video you've seen him talk about children?
I'm just saying someone dancing in the room. I think it's bad. No, I agree. I think it's bad that someone danced in the room and thought it was great that Charlie Kirk died. But I also think it's bad that you're out there openly advocating for kids to not get meals in school because we have an obesity problem. I think that's also bad. I think so.
Get meals in school. I'm advocating for kids to take advantage of the surplus of food available to them in different ways that it is.
Yeah,
it's not on somebody to do it.
So how is it? So you're 7 years old. Let's say you're 7 or you're 9. How is a 9-year-old with fucked up parents or whatever, or even if they don't, whatever, how is a 9-year-old supposed to know where to get food from and resources? And then when you give them a location, how are they supposed to go there by themselves? Like, really? We give grace to adults who still have mommy issues where they can't perform, but children are supposed to just know how to feed them fucking selves.
Do it, bro. Like, you know, you're shitty parents. I get it, but we disagree on that perspective, dog. Like, you think that the government should step in and save the world. I don't agree with that. I mean, if they do it, I'm not going to contend it. I'm not do what you want to do, bro. But I understand Kirk's perspective in that.
We pay so much in tax dollars, and most of it goes to the military to do funding wars overseas. I don't think it's so crazy to say, hey, man, take 1% of that budget and make sure these kids don't go hungry. Take another 1% of that budget and take care of veterans. But, you know, like maybe that's wrong. I just think it's crazy. It's me personally.
I wouldn't disagree with you with that, but I don't disagree with Kirk either. I mean, I don't think he should be painted as a demon for having that viewpoint.
I mean, I think it's pretty demonic to not want kids to have meals. Personally, that's me.
He never said he didn't want kids to have meals. Is that the only conversation you've seen Abba have discussing that topic?
When he was suggested a food program to make sure that kids who can't get access to good food or decent food or have malnutrition get food, he said, "No, that's fucking stupid. Let the parents do it."
Can you answer my question though? Was that the only video did you let that video play and see what else he said in regards to that discussion?
Yeah, I played it.
And what did he say?
He said that he thinks that the parents should take care of it. The state shouldn't be involved.
He said, pull it up right now. I'll see.
You can pull it up, but that's what he said. He said the state should not be involved.
No, bro, you're a victim to the same thing everybody else going through, just getting sucked in by these reels, dog. He's named all these different avenues, these different ways of children to receive food. You're just
hold up. How does a hungry kid get food?
I gave you one example.
What is it?
If he's at school and teachers are aware of what the fuck's going on and they see a damn child coming in there looking emaciated, most I don't know. I don't know what teachers, but I've seen instances where teachers step in and get the correct party involved to help said children.
Okay, so you want the state to get involved to make sure that kid gets school? You literally just like that's what you said. You want this? Do you know this?
I never said want. I said these resources are available to them.
But that's what your solution is, right?
That's not my solution. I'm giving you the fact that there's different avenues.
Super chat stop the live. Thank you, Al Nixon. He says school meal programs are fully taxpayer funded. Schools rely on meal revenue that covers food costs, staff, and operation. Yeah, that's the part where it's like they can do it. They decide what to do with our money all the time. So taking away lunches, they took away band pro. They always take stuff out of schools that are needed. They take away trades, then they take away music, then they take away certain certain academics, like certain high schools in Los Angeles under LAUSD. They don't even teach trigonometry. They don't teach a lot of subjects. Just they start taking things out. Like that is just the fact. They start with the school first, which if the school is supposed to prepare you for the type of adult you're supposed to be, seems like they want you to be an adult not operating at your full potential, and they want to put you in prison. That's what it just seems like. It's the school or the prison pipeline. I got what you meant.
Mm-hmm.
And resources for children to get food if they need it.
Okay.
I'm not saying what I want. I'm saying what's available to them. There's no reason to starve, dog.
All right. Hey, listen, we'll agree to disagree on this point. No reason for kids, but statistically speaking, every year there's so many kids who are suffering from malnutrition. That's what the numbers say. We'll move on to the next point.
And there's so many people that die from car accidents, bro. Fucked up shit happens. Like we can't save everybody. We can't save everybody, bro. Like it is.
But just because we can't save everybody doesn't mean we don't try.
But there's avenues for them to be saved. Just maybe not with this school.
Yeah, like yes, car accidents happen every year. Doesn't mean we don't try to make cars safer. Doesn't mean we don't make roads better.
And there's ways for children to get food.
Okay, man. I'm gonna disagree. I think that stance is crazy.
You don't think there's other ways for children to get food outside?
I don't know. Have you ever been a kid? You think kids just know where to get free food every day? You truly think kids know what the resources are? Like, what are we talking about, man?
I don't know what their day-to-day is, man. But maybe there's meetings or like ways that teachers can express.
What he's doing is what annoys me. Just acknowledge that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, or just acknowledge, yeah, that doesn't make sense. If I was a kid, I wouldn't just know where to get. You're asking them to think logically when they're trying to develop, and you can't even think or learn or retain information on an empty stomach when you're not getting the nutrients you need. Are you fucking serious? What is going on today?
This to children to like educate them on. There's like sex reproduction type of information they get. There's like if there's a potential for a problem to be had, I'm assuming that there may be ways for schools or whomever to express these resources to kids to make them aware of it at least. Like if they come in hungry, hey, we have this available if you are hungry. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how it is, but there are different ways for children to get food. I'm just making sure off the top of my head of how that connection may occur.
Yeah. I just think in terms of a worldview, we fundamentally disagree on this topic, but it's fine. We can move on to the next topic because I don't want to laugh in circles.
Yeah, but look, first of all, like my only issue was the manufactured narrative, and then we got to the bottom of like you saying you were contextualizing it in the video. I didn't receive it as such. I mean, those are mainly the unless you have something.
No, because I think you went over some of the stuff that I had because we both watch each other's videos. Another problem I had, I think this is like
question. Spaces said, I think it's simple. Super chat stop the live, so this comes before you. So sorry, Spaces. Rick said asking kids to do an adult job is crazy. I was getting there. Thank you. We're gonna just pin Ricky's and we're gonna pin your comment after Spaces. He said, I think it's as simple as just teaching them. If they can be taught algebra, they can be taught where to find food. They don't start teaching you algebra, pre-algebra until 6th grade. So that means even then that shit is hard. You got to teach me how to find X. But I'm supposed to know in 6th grade. So you're saying on some Matilda shit, like just go down the street to this program and say, hey, I need food. And then they say, where are your parents? You don't want your parents to go get arrested. You don't want your mother to go to jail. She's the only parent you have. So, he said within their reach. I mean, honestly, kids that are starving are going to steal. They're not going to go to no adult and ask for nothing. They're going to steal.
All right, let me, and I'll pull up the clip too, because this ever happens around, because I think you said you felt I was very biased. This is a very liberal take on things. That was a quote. Mm-hmm. Let's see here. I'll come back to that after. Yeah. So when you say this is a very liberal take, after like watching a good like 10 minutes of our video, and you feel like what we're saying when we're saying, hey, both got sides engaged in political violence, there's a lot of this happening right now. Why do you feel like it's a very liberal or biased take?
I mean, it kind of goes into what I was saying initially, where it was like minimizing the effects of Charlie's tragedy and bringing up other examples to compare it to.
Just on this really quickly, I'm sorry, if I'm getting on nerves, go watch the video yourself. That's exactly Ellis, because what we don't want to recognize is, like I said, I can only speak from the blades of where I'm at. Right behind where Las Vegas Strip is, that is definitely a blade a little bit, right? More drug addicts, whatever. But even in LA on Western and on Figueroa, there has been even more, and Hollywood Boulevard, even more teenage, and I'm not just talking about 16, I'm talking about 13, okay? Younger, who are actually Tropicana. Yep. They are out there trying to get money. So that whole, when you say do something for food, yes, because when you have dysfunctional households, they're not going to go find no food program. They're going to go get some money to take care of themselves.
And
Go outside.
I can't remember.
Okay, just to come back to that, let's say if we could contextualize it, or we couldn't do it the way we want, talk about other political violence. What would you have preferred? Do you prefer that everybody who talks about Charlie's death talks about it in a vacuum and they just talk about him dying? Like, because you didn't like the fact that we talked about like all the other deaths and all that stuff, and that's fine. But like, what would you have preferred?
If in that video, if I understood it as you contextualizing it, I wouldn't have a disagreement with you.
Okay.
I just feel like it was a way to minimize what happened to Kirk.
Okay.
People can say whatever they want to say.
Okay.
I watched you, I follow you, and I was just surprised by the tape.
Okay. I feel like you got a lot of right-wing bias. I feel like you call.
I do.
Yeah.
I can agree with you.
Yeah. In the video, you said that you feel like the left is the emotionally driven side. You feel like the right is more logical? You said the left is more emotional, so I feel like you think the right is more logical?
Yeah, I'd agree with that take.
So you don't feel like the right engages in a lot of hysteria or a lot of emotionality?
Yeah, they do.
Do you feel?
I think a valid, I guess, label for the left. I mean, with a whole different nuance, there's much more nuances in different ways that the left operates, man. Outside of like racism and racism, I feel like the right gets crazy extremist with racism and like transphobia or whatnot, man. But there's just lots of spectrums to perspectives and different ways of looking at life and mental health type of things that derive mentally and emotionally from the left, which is propagated mostly on. I mean, all I see is on social media, bro. That doesn't appear as much on the right. It's usually like a nationalist or some white supremacist or some anti-gay that's out here doing the utmost.
Yeah. Okay.
There's not a lot of conversations as far as gender dysphoria. That's a mentally emotional type of conversation that is very relevant. The whole LGBTQ thing, and you get children involved, and it's much more nuanced, much more layered. The right wing is much simple. It's more based on traditions and values, and then you got motherfuckers that are super traditional and super values, and that's when it gets hateful.
Do you think that traditions and values are logic based?
It's a twofold. Some of it is based on religion, but then like you can apply logic to it. You know what I mean? Because it's been a tradition because something has worked for so long, right? So if it's working, we built this logic to know it works this way. We sustained the quality of life for this long, so we know based on our tradition that this thing works. And then when we take take tradition and values away, we have this mess we're in right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'd fundamentally disagree with that. People have done certain things for thousands of years, from human sacrifices to all kinds of really fucked up traditions. And
I'm focusing here in America. I mean, there's no perfect way of doing things, bro. But I think I'm the simpler, the better, man. There's not room for extra bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot more crazy things going on because we've opened up the gates and we scale it back. I'm not talking about nationalism, white supremacy, whatever, man. People can do what they want to do, but when you let everybody just follow their feelings and follow their heart and do what they want to do and don't apply any logic, then
do you think faith in religion is logical?
No.
Right, but that's what a lot of the right is driven by, no? And to be honest with you, I don't think everything about religion is necessarily logical. There's plenty of laws and rules in there that are, you know, that are good principles to have in everyday life. But I just reject this notion.
I'm not religious. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But
I think that's where it got tricky for them, because you can't say one side is more logical when they are literally reacting emotional. You can't say that. You just cannot. And then on top of that, you can't say, especially when we all know conservative views or right views are usually based in religion.
you made the assertion that you feel like the left is more emotional, but I would argue that if you are, you know, very religious, a lot of that is based in emotion. It's based in faith. It's based in ideas. This idea that lefties are all emotional, but righties are more lefties are more emotional and righties are more logical. It's just like, I think it's just, I think it's a very
phrasing it that way is making it much more extreme than what I was trying to convey. Just think that the label of emotional is more along the lines of the left than the right. Right. I'm not out here saying every lefty is lunatic. I understand the stigma or whatnot. I'm not.
Yeah, I personally think the problem is that you're demonizing the idea of emotionality, and especially in the way that the left might express it. But I think being emotional in healthy doses is very, very good. And much of the way that the right expresses it, if done well, can also be very, very good. But this idea, you almost made it like a critique that the left is more emotional. But in my head, I'm like, well, just today, right? Or yesterday, during the memorial, I watched Charlie Kirk's wife give a speech. It was hyper emotional. It was very faith-based. There wasn't necessarily logic to it all the time, but it was still very beautiful. It was very moving. And that sense of emotionality is something that I appreciate. I just think sometimes
I would too, but I think problems derive from the right and the left when the right does, I'm only focused on the bad things. That's what we focus on, right? If it's good, who cares? Everything's working. But the bad, there's an argument to be made that when bad shit goes awry, it's because people's emotional connection or just mentally unstableness to how they align.
I would agree with that.
All I'm saying with the left, there's more opportunity for error because of so many different ways you can go about this, man. Like just quantitatively, right? There's much more room. There's much more margin for error emotionally with the left because of everything that the left has going on. The right is simple.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I disagree with that characterization, but I understand what you're getting at. But that's fine. I think that's okay. I think this is the last point that I really wanted to bring up. Let's see here, because I just want to make sure I kind of get to everything, just so that we can close out this up on a decent note. At one point during the thing, and I appreciate the fact that we mentioned the fact that most political violence happens on the right, and you said I need to fact check that. You looked it up. I want to ask you, when you looked it up, what did you see?
More right-wing violence.
Right. And when I brought this up, a lot of people had a negative reaction. They didn't believe it. They said, violence is very left-wing. I know you didn't. And I appreciate the fact that you looked it up, because a lot of people would be very disingenuous and won't even do that. A lot of the political discourse right now is in the direction that I was telling you about earlier, which is like framing the left as the more political violent party, even though it's not true. This is going viral everywhere, but none of the numbers support that. And I'm curious, from your perspective, why do you think that perspective is out there?
Because Kirk just got killed by the left.
Okay.
I think if it was different and some white supremacists, put another Charleston, we'd be seeing the same thing another way. Because it happened. Like we got the right got labeled as racist and all that. Another white supremacist out here killing a bunch of. I think it's more. I think this is the more. I don't call it viral, but it went viral. This event had the most attention towards it because of the nuance that came with it, man. But I think every time an extremist or active terror comes and we figure out who did it, we're going to blame that side until something else happens.
Got you. And this is the last thing I want to talk to you about. Actually, the last one. At 3:58, you said, and I think you've repeated this, you said, ain't no talking to them. Nothing needs to be said. They need to be controlled. You were talking about people who were engaging in political violence, or the people, or the evil people who are like celebrating. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, Jaron, you seen that despicable shit, bro. Like, ain't no talking to them.
Yeah. Do you Okay. Well, this will be the last point. So, what would you want to do with these people? Because, like in the video, you went kind of wild. You said, "Hey, these people need to be exiled." You said they need to be decapitated. I was like, "Damn!"
I was giving everybody that's on the good end that feels the type of way to feel heard in what I was trying to voice, bro. You know what I mean? Like, if something violent happened to them.
Can I ask a question seriously, just for people who may agree with Stevie Knight, that it's evil to celebrate Charlie Kirk being killed? If Charlie Kirk had non-sympathetic, he did not care about who he talked about, that was deleted. He didn't care about none of that. He said that actually he was for it to a certain extent. And this person has such extreme views against them as a group, or things that he said about Black women. Like, so if these groups that he had these opinions about did not give a shit that he was murdered, or him in the middle of being shot was about to blame Black people or their violence of them, it's like, how can you, as a person who represents somebody that he will not defend, not speak for, not jump out about, probably say, oh, like, whoop-de-doo. He might say that. How could you even feel comfortable positioning yourself to go so hard for someone who represents the opposite? You're saying it's evil to celebrate, but it wasn't evil for him to not have empathy or love or compassion for someone who just lost their life on camera as well. He didn't have that compassion. Now, he didn't have compassion for this last conversation we was talking about. So how is it evil? How can you clearly see evil when somebody is celebrating the death of somebody who portrayed and perpetuated evil under the name of Christianity? Because at last I checked in the Bible, you're supposed to care about, nobody's supposed to be hungry. You're supposed to care about everybody. You're supposed to love even people that hate you because they know not what they do. That's the, I don't understand how we can sit up here and think you're better than somebody because you're not in the street twerking for the death of this nigga. But yet still this nigga had no grace for nobody being what? And you sit here confident in your do-rag and your cowboy hat. Like, confidently. Like, y'all gotta make that shit make sense to me. I don't get it.
If they lost their job, if they lost their freedom, like, cause that's literally evil, bro. We don't got no time for evil. There's literally no talking to them. So we just expect them to just content to like simmer down and not continue their evil.
Damn, man, you don't make me the most like lip cuck person in the world right now. I'm a disagree with you. I think people who do evil things aren't necessarily evil. I think sometimes they're hurt. I think sometimes they are in a really bad place. I think sometimes these are folks that, you know, and it's almost ironic too, because I do believe that people should be punished for the things that they do and they should suffer those consequences, but I don't think they're irredeemable. Labeling someone evil, I think, is a way for us to look at something and then simplify it. But the reality is that things are complex. People are complex, and the reason why they get to that place is very difficult. You know, there's plenty of people who were white supremacists or part of horrible gangs and came back from it. There's plenty of people who advocated for racism and different horrible things and came back from it. Same thing on the left side.
They better get back from it before it's too late. That's all I'm saying. Because I ain't got time to care about why they are that they are. You spitting evil, you saying some evil shit, you get the fuck out of here. Like, ain't no talking to you. And something bad happens to you because you fucking spit on Kirk's grave, or you up here acting like you got shot in front of a fucking memorial, bro. Like, I could care less. You know what I mean? Like, if hopefully you have a intervention or a coming to God moment, then you can be saved. But before that, nah. And then I'm not Christian. I'm not no holier than thou motherfucker.
Fair.
You know, I know people may receive that wrong, dog, but like, you fuck around and find out. Hopefully you figure that shit out before you find out.
I agree. I would just say, you know, labeling people evil is just a blanket term to be able to just cut off any kind of sense of personhood in there. And like I said,
I don't consider them people. So
you don't consider them people?
Nah, they're no, I'm not. I don't even have a discussion with you because and at the end of the day, I know, especially at this point, dog. At this point, bro, with the whole Kirk situation, bro, I dropped a video on this shit, dog. Like, I've lost faith in humanity at this point after seeing how people address this problem. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you know, I am, you know, mentally, like, emotionally tied to my stance in this regard, dog. Like, I could care less about why you feel the way you feel.
But that's why I'm saying this to you. You can't be emotional about this and let it govern you, because that's why you get into the bad spot. Because I need you to understand.
But just a minute ago, the left is more emotional. But we've been hearing about how he feel about shit this whole time. You can recognize evil to celebrate the death of somebody who didn't care about starving kids, but it's not evil to starve kids. The point that you just made, like, that's the point, Ellis. It's like, nigga, huh? Do you know that to not care about humanity in general is evil? It's anti-God. It's anti-Christ. To whatever, fuck, that is anti-Christ.
You saying this is the exact same stuff that leads to the other people looking at Kirk and saying he's an evil person. And when someone is just evil, killing them is no problem. When someone is evil, you justify the murder.
I understand what you're saying, bro. I understand what you're saying, dog. And prior to Kirk, I probably would have sided with you. But it is what it is at this point.
But you're being emotional, though.
Hey, I'm not gonna be the fucking better person. Bro, I tweeted it, dog. When I saw,
I'm not asking you to be the better person. I'm asking you to be logical. I'm asking you to be principled. I'm asking you not to be emotional.
Look, check this out. Logically.
Yeah. I think that right wingers do.
No. Look. Logically, it still wouldn't even make sense because ain't no talking to them. Like, there's no point in me having a conversation with somebody.
That's not true, man. That's not true. Do you know how many people were talked out of killing people? Do you know how many people who had?
I'm talking about this instance right here, and I'm basing this anecdotally from the people that I've spoken with that are so misinformed, but they're unwilling to even entertain the idea that things are not the way that they believe them to be. Right? There's no talking to them. So logically, it is what it is. You sealed your fate. So why am I going to sit here and give you the benefit of the doubt and try to kumbaya with it? What's social problem? Why'd you get misled? No, fuck that, bro. Stay over there.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I disagree with the idea that there's no talking to them. There's plenty of people who've talked away from extremism. It happens all the time. I mean, there's a guy, what was the black dude who goes up to Ku Klux Klan members and literally talks them out of, fucking white supremacy. He talks them out of it. There's plenty of people who do that.
I really think this situation is a one-off, because I'd expect the KKK to be that way, but the flooding of just random people out here saying the most sadistic shit, like I've never seen anything. Like, what would you compare this situation to that you've seen since you've been walking the God's green earth?
What would I compare? What situation?
What's there's nothing to compare it to.
Compare what? What?
Like the response, the demonic, the evil responses people have had to it, shitting on his grave, cussing him out, fuck Kirk and his mom and his
bro. I was on social.
Do we not see our own people say fuck Malcolm X, fuck Martin Luther King, fuck? Like, what are we saying, my nigga? Like, truthfully, Stevie, come on now. What did you not listen to Charlie Kirk's opinions about certain black people that were murdered? Are what? So he get the same energy, and now it's a problem. I have lost faith in humanity. It's like he has this complex that I feel like a lot of us have, which is this white savior complex, where it's like we jump out the window to prove so much, to go against our own, or just to prove so much that we're not racist and we're not this. So we're gonna just jump out the window to defend this, and when they're not doing the fucking same. Let me know when a white man speak up this confidently against his own people for doing anything against anybody in another group. Please let me know this. When it gets loud to the point where we're doing a whole grifting thing against for it. That will never happen. We're always the people that they use. We can always go back to the house niggas. We can always go. It's like, can we keep this passion with our own situations, with our own issues? Why does everything have to be? And I'm not even trying to sound like anti one thing, but it's just like you see so much empathy and grace towards other groups, but when it become to us, you black bitches, you black niggas, these motherfuckers, and we're so quick to just have no empathy or grace for our own. When a person has so many opinions against our groups, and we should know we should know certain plights more than any other group because we live in the skin. But then you have us trying to dismiss certain things that make it seem like there's not a classism issue, there's not a discrimination issue. The fact that we have to even be put in a position to go back and forth with our own groups about a motherfucker who wouldn't even dare. Who wouldn't even dare. You look crazy. You look crazy, my nigga. And you got to be doing this for views. If this is how you do content, where you have to find a niche and then just suck the dick that hard in that niche to then be like, oh, yeah. Because, it's like black trauma sells so much. You can either sell black trauma by constantly making thumbnails and things that depict us in a way, or constantly talking about the same thing in different ways to sell black trauma, or you could be the person from black trauma that can talk so against people who are still going through things in your own group. However, I have seen it so many times just off of this from big channels where it's like, well, dang, what happened? Now you're giving so much of opinion. And I think some of us are not even aware, or I don't think that's every person's intention, but I just think we're not even aware of what we're defending. We think we sound smart. We think we sound like we're doing the right thing by calling our own people out. How dare you do such a thing? When, hold on, are you talking about the group that constantly works overtime throughout generations and generations to make sure we're at the bottom in many different forms, in many different ways? Yeah, it may not look how it looked before. That's because we've evolved. Now we have ourselves working the same system. We're trying to say, well, we're past that. There's no system. Because we're the ones working the system. What the fuck is, why are we worried about a white supremacist if we got black people acting like they're superior to other ones and doing the same fucking thing, being the new gatekeepers? What's the point of them? Let's just finish this out.
social media enough to see like, shit, man. Like a couple days after Trayvon Martin was dead, motherfuckers had a trend that went viral for to say that it was called Trayvoning. They would say there and lay in the exact same position as how he was killed. They did the same thing with George Floyd. Remember after he died, and motherfuckers sat on the floor while someone had their neck, and they would take these pictures. Look it up. I don't even make it up. You can find these things. There's so many examples of people laughing at people dying because they didn't like them and they didn't like what they stood for. That happens all the time, and these aren't even political people. These aren't even political people.
It was at this scale. It was at this scale.
It might not have been to this scale or in this terms of virality. I'll agree with you there, but I'm just saying people celebrate death. It happens. Paul Pelosi, that was another example. He was a 67-year-old man, and a lot of people were hashtagging and laughing about his death. And they were saying,
"I'll give you the one-off." So like, I'm not gonna say it's an absolute thing that nobody's out here doing it, but there was way too many this time, bro. There's way too many this time, and I was surprised. Don't shit surprise me about the fucking world, and I was extremely surprised to see that amount of fucking. There's nothing I can.
Cap. It was more people happy Kevin Samuels died than cut the bullshit. Cut the bullshit. What do you mean that was the first time I ever seen? Bro, did you not see how they celebrated Kevin Samuels' death? Vivica Fox even had something to say.
You categorize, label it as outside of fucking evil, or people that I didn't fucking expect. Even people that I know personally, brother, I didn't even think had that type of shit in them is out here celebrating a man's death that way. When they got close to home for me, that's when the fucking open doors for me, bro.
Yeah, but that's my point. I get how you feel. I get the whole, like the sensation of like, this world is a dark place and like we can't even negotiate with it.
I'm not even gonna say the world's a dark place. I'm just saying that.
But you said you had no hope, so that's why I'm saying that. When you say you have no hope,
I'm saying there's no hope for these motherfuckers. You may give them hope. I'm not. They can burn.
Okay. I just, if you can take away one thing, is you know what I mean, what you was telling me earlier. You know what I mean? You can't approach the world's problem from a hyper emotional place, and that's what you're doing right now. You're letting the passion and the emotion of the moment govern how you're viewing the world. Yes, you are.
You misquoting me, bro. You misquoting me, dog. I'm saying there is emotion tied to it, bro. I'm a human being. I'm not a fucking machine. You know what I'm saying? But I told you the reason why I feel comfortable having this perspective on it is because logically I know that there's no way to talk these people out of it. Right, so logic, that's a waste of time. That's a waste of effort for what?
Wait, what is this logic? I don't understand. What's the logic though? What's this logic? This logic that you can't talk people out of extremism.
Yeah, there's no talking to them, bro. There's no talking to any of these extremists, these evil motherfuckers out of their frame of mind until they take their own journey to do it. And I'm not gonna sit here wasting my time trying to take them out when they not ready to have that conversation.
See,
Stevie sounds like he's not even in touch at all. It's like, imagine them. He sounds just like how they said when they talked about us. You ain't no talking to them ghetto ass black people. Ain't no talking to them. You don't talking to them. Create a situation so horrible that over time generations start to play out in that mental. There's many different things that you do to fuck with the mindset of a people. There's many different things that you do. Then you judge them and say, look at you acting like what we created you to act like. What the fuck wrong with you? Oh, it ain't no talking to no people like that. It ain't no talking to you. You sound like you on your fucking high horse. When nigga, it don't matter where you go. You are definitely in the same group you judging. It don't matter what chain you got on. It don't matter where you go. I don't understand why so many black people think because you got a decent job or you got a YouTube channel that make you a little bit of some sort of revenue or whatever, that you just above the fucking criticism or you're above the group of judgment. No, you're not. No, you are not. You are still that thing that they see. You're not going to be removed from the group. You're not going to be removed from what we see. You still a nigga. According to the majority. Like, that shit is so disheartening. And I'm going to just go maybe super chat. Shout out to King Sunny. He said, I would smoke him in this conversation. He was a teacher in this conversation. It don't even seem like Stevie was trying to even genuinely understand or have a conversation. He just didn't want to look stupid, so I'm gonna just keep acting like I don't know what you're talking about. He said, this is how our school teach my YN. But I want to talk about Sean. Thank you so much for acknowledging that, because he said a lot of black creators have sold their humanity and morals for YouTube clicks and views because it ultimately brings them money. There's so much money in black trauma and hate. Exactly. And that's the part that I'm saying. What do you think was happening at the time? Anytime you put money, views, or anything, we are going to sell out, which is why I didn't think it was. I thought it was crazy when we act fake outrage. Like, oh my gosh, where are these people fucking Diddy? I mean, we could see people on YouTube. The minute you switch who you are, your position to get views and anything like that, just as a person, if you switch your morals as a person, and you just for money and anything like that, I know you would wear a dress. I know you would fuck somebody in the right situation for the right dollar. I know. And it's more embarrassing because you see a lot more black men willing to take the grifter approach a lot quicker when it comes to selling trauma. Now y'all can give me some other people. Y'all give me some other people if y'all know. But it's always the same, but they never give that empathy towards us as a people at all, towards the conversation that's needed. We watching Candace Owens, and this is what pissed me off about Candace Owens. And I typically like her perspectives for who she is. But to even just go out the window and you're going all the way out there to prove to us, talking about what you about to get to the bottom of it, you willing to risk your life to go figure out who killed Charlie Kirk or the Israelites and all, whatever, the Israel and all the type of stuff she got going on. It's so much stuff you could be exposing that keeps happening. Like all these young black girls and boys that are coming up missing. They have been missing, I want to say since 2018, I start hearing about an abundance of this. These people can use their platforms and their investigation skills to go figure out more information of that. Leave cookies. They don't do that. They don't never highlight real issues that are happening. They want to just talk about some shit we don't give a fuck about. Like, why do we care if the French president is married to a man? Why? Why the fuck does that matter to us? Okay, then when we find out, then what? Like, why the fuck do we care? It's so much stuff she could be using her influence for, other than distracting us of dumb shit.
If you're not willing or you're not interested in that discussion, that's fine. But saying that there's no way to talk people out of forms of extremism.
Yeah, there is a way. There's a way. I'm just saying I'm not signing up for it. You can. I'm not.
Okay. All right. Then.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's very different. If you're saying there is a way and these people can be redeemed, then by definition, they're not evil. They're just in an evil space right now.
Bro, you come on, dog.
You have to admit, if you can talk people. But if you can, but think about that. Hold on. It's logical. It's logical. Hold on.
You got it.
Hold on.
You know what the fuck I mean.
But you see the logic though. I'm just trying to say, if you're telling me it is possible to redeem these people, then that means by definition they are not evil. That's what that means. Now they may be engaging in evil, they may be doing horrible things, and they should be punished for that.
Let me rephrase it for you.
It's important because words matter.
Let me rephrase it for you. Make Alpha feel better. Every motherfucker engaged in evil can burn.
Okay. I hope you,
including you. What the fuck are we, bro?
Guys burn, and you guys are reborn through the phoenix. You guys come back as better people. All right. I'm not the most forgiving person. I think after watching,
either, bro. I know you.
I'm not. But I'll tell you what changed me. I'll tell you what this Charlie Kirk. I'll tell you the Charlie Kirk situation changed me because I think watching his wife on that stage was probably the single most powerful political moment I've ever seen, maybe ever. Yeah. And I think I'm an agnostic person. I'm not religious, but it really was beautiful to me. And whatever political differences I might have, for her to, she was the only person I saw that embodied like the best parts about religion. Everyone else, they wear it as like a veneer and they're very hateful online. But like truly, she reminded me of the people I met before that were amazing. And I think
we're getting to, they're just talking about the wife. So my opinions just on this is kind of like you guys. It's like, I didn't care too much beyond what I commented on to even talk about it because I thought he was a YouTuber. Then they talk about assassination. Then it's like, okay, we all know what media does. Media is directly designed to paint narratives and keep your mind controlled on what they want you to think. There's also companies designed to purposely put out lies and delete certain things off of the internet. So for me, it's just kind of like, this is clearly a narrative. It did not matter who killed him. The purpose was to make this a civil war, to make this black versus white. Then we see it's the white person killed, and it's like, oh, but it's still you niggas. You niggas shouldn't even be happy. Like, goddamn, like, God forbid we happy, or God forbid we don't give a fuck that one racist motherfucker was murdered, or somebody who didn't give a fuck about our lives at all. Why the fuck should we care about his? Like, come on now, get the fuck out of here. Shout out to Sean. He said this is why he said he's a capitalist when it came to the kids going hungry. Money and view. Exactly. Which is the new, I feel like to say I'm a capitalist is a new way to say the other word, the supremacist word. Because everybody could be, there's no color to that, right? You could just be that. Yeah, I definitely, I don't see nothing wrong with being a capitalist, but you also can't be a person that jump rope in and out of morals. When you don't have morals, you're tied into money. So I think that it's very rich of you to be a person that's just about money, and then you want to jump in and out, or to judge stuff what's morally correct and what's not. No, you can't do that. You can't do that. You pick a fucking side. But you guys, do y'all let me know what y'all think about this debate? Do y'all like Stevie Knight? Do you feel like I missed a little bit of some points? Do you feel like Lucki was tripping? What was your thoughts? I did see some of y'all said Abba was making extreme points. He was, because I think sometimes when you debate people who feel like they can't just say something right flat out, you give them an extreme scenario where it's undeniable yes or no, just so you can get how they understand the point or how they gauge the point. But yeah, you guys, I would love to see you guys on Lucki and Friends. Would love for that. Bye, you guys. See you later. Make sure y'all watch my and support my vlogs and the membership. Some of y'all said the link wasn't working. I'll try to refresh it. Yeah, maybe I should be a better YouTubian or something, Anyway, bye y'all.
If you don't like me, that's fine. But, watch your mouth.